Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I'm Mandy, and today I'm doing a Barbie movie inspired fan art sketch page. I'm really happy with how this turned out in the end, so I hope you enjoy it. I am using a Pilot Color Eno pencil in pink for the underlayer of sketching before I pulled out my alcohol markers. And yeah, it is a little light, so I am sorry that you can't see it very well when it first comes out, but I assure you that I am sketching, so you can kind of see it. It's really faint with the pink lines, but it is, for me, I think important to have those really light layered lines underneath so I can color over it and then draw over it with my colored pencils later on. And so that's important to me. I did speed up the drawing. I don't draw this fast. I sped it up to about 150% speed because otherwise it's really slow. I'm kind of a slow, methodical thinker as I'm sketching. But it's been a while since I've drawn a person, and the Barbie movie quite inspired me. And so today I thought, while I am sketching this for you, that I would talk about what Barbies and dolls mean to me. As I have mentioned before on my channel a few times, that dolls are kind of important to me. I have collected dolls for a very long time. I am an adult collector. I have dolls that range from Barbie, which are actually one of the cheapest Barbie kind of dolls on the market to collect, up to dolls that cost in the hundreds. I have not spent more than about $500 or $600 on a doll, but believe me, you can do that very fast. There are some original American Girl dolls even that go for over $1,000, especially this coveted Samantha that, oh my gosh, if I could have her, I would, but I just cannot bring myself to spend $1,000 on a doll that I could still get a version of for $100. However, I have always loved Barbies. I have always loved any kind of doll that I could get my hand on. And I also grew up sewing for them, so I spent 6 years of my life, actually, of my adult life, running an Etsy store that was very successful, and I made doll clothing. And I can tell you from the extreme burnout that I am very happy that I am not running my doll clothing business anymore, because right now I know that I would just be inundated with orders, and as wonderful as that would be, and as wonderful as it was, it's very, very taxing on one person to run a business. And I will someday talk about that in a video, but this is the video I want to talk more about dolls and how they have really just been this special comfort for me in so many different ways, and how the Barbie movie made me feel about it. So I don't want to get super spoilery, but there was a storyline part in it with an adult person who played with a doll. And I tell you what, it's not, I'm not trying to give anything away for the movie for those who haven't seen it, because I want you to go enjoy the movie. But that part where the woman was an adult playing with the doll made me feel so seen, that I was sitting in the theater with my friends. I had 3 friends with me, and I was just bawling, because as a 35-year-old woman, I have to justify all the time my hobbies and my loves for things like dolls. And, you know, sometimes even, you know, it was when I was younger, I had to justify my love for things like Sailor Moon and things like that now are so mainstream, but those hurts are still there. So to be seen in a mainstream movie, and to see all the people really excited about Barbie and dressing up and taking this and saying, oh, I remember this one. Oh, and I remember this one. And I'm like, yeah, she's down in my office right now. It felt so wonderful. It felt so great because I even brought one of my dolls with one of my outfits that I made to the theater, and it just felt so wonderful to have her there. My friends all just loved me and didn't, say a word about it, and they just let me have my doll. And they are some of the most supportive people in my life, and I'm so grateful for my friends. But the movie itself just brought all these feels, and so yeah, there's just something empowering about seeing something that I have loved forever brought onto a screen as like real life in a way. I mean, that's the best I can describe it. So here right now, I'm going to go back to talking about the piece. So my Ohuhus come with this plastic like protector sheet, and I seriously love it. It is one of these things because alcohol markers, they do bleed. So I love that I can stick this plastic thing underneath and it protects the page behind. Otherwise, sometimes they bleed too much when I'm adding too many layers. And so that was what I just did there. So you can see that. I love the Ohuhu markers. I have both Ohuhu and Copic. I don't have any other. I take that back. I have used like Hobby Lobby and Michael's brands, and I don't care for them. They work in a pinch when they're on super sale, when I can get them for like $2 a marker. But Ohuhu and Copic work, like I can't tell the difference, and I use them kind of simultaneously. But honestly, I'd probably go Ohuhu over Copic just because you can get so many more for your buck, because Copics are just so expensive. So most of mine are Ohuhu with a few Copics that I've picked up here and there. But so to talk back about dolls, this one that I am specifically went with was a couple different screenshots of Margot Robbie on the, I don't know, you call it tour circuit? I'm not sure, but I know that she was doing like premieres all over the world. Everybody's got all the pictures of her in the outfits. And this was one of the Barbies that I had as a child, not as an adult, as a child. And I absolutely adored her. And so it was kind of fun to be able to draw her in a couple different poses here and do a spread. I want to do more. I definitely want to do more spreads of Barbie. I'm feeling the pink. I'm super inspired. I'm super happy. It's just, it is so wonderful. Like I want to say it over and over. It is just so wonderful to feel seen. And to think, like, I went into this, I was so skeptical of this movie. When I first saw the trailers, I was upset. As an adult collector, we spend so much time, and like, I tell you what, it's like in every single forum and every single group that I'm in, we always have to justify to people that think buying toys in our adulthood is a waste of money, is stupid, all these crazy things. Like, people just don't get it. And so when I first saw the trailers, I was angry. I was like, this looks like such a farce movie, and it's something that I have to fight all the time. It's something that I have to justify to people. And luckily I've been doing it long enough, and I, was super successful at my business that I really didn't have to explain it too much to my family and my husband, because I did take this and make it into a business. However, like, you don't have to make your hobby a business. There's nothing wrong with an adult buying a doll if it brings them joy. And that is something that I've always felt, and I've always said to people. And just love what you do. Do what you love. If you love dolls, if you love them and they bring you joy, go out and buy them. And I felt like this movie definitely validated that. And so it was kind of a wonderful thing. I was down in Omaha. I do not live in Omaha. I do not live in a city with an AMC. So I was down in Omaha for the weekend, and it just happened to be the weekend that I was doing a reading retreat with some friends, and they had an AMC. So I had my friend run me out to the AMC so I could get the Barbie car so I can have it in my office. I'm so excited to put it up. I've got to find a good place for it. But the Barbie car came with the movie Barbie, and it was so wonderful to see that the movie got its own face mold. So if you don't know, they have been using specific face molds, and right now the Barbie one that they've been using for years is called the Millie face mold. It's really fun to kind of go back and study the face molds that they use, but Millie is the one they used, and I don't know if going forward they're going to use the like Barbie movie face mold, but it's so beautiful. It does kind of look like Margot, but it also is just, it's different. She's got a bigger smile. She's got beautiful eyes, and they did such a good job with the face detail. And so I was excited that I could only get the car with the Barbie. I wasn't planning on getting the Barbie movie Barbie, but she came with the car, and she is pretty. She's gonna look great, but it's one of those things that I also, people are like, oh, well, if you just collect them, it's fine. So here's the deal with my collecting. I do collect them, but sometimes I get joy out of playing with them. I am a mom, and I actually sometimes, not all the time, because I need a break from my kids, but I actually enjoy playing with my kids and playing pretend. I love telling stories, and I love make-believe, and, obviously I wanted to go into animation. I feel like part of that play is being able to tell stories that appeal to all ages and make-believe and kind of that kind of stuff. And so I will sometimes pull out my Barbies and play. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. They have personalities. I, obviously know that the dolls and themselves aren't actually talking to me. Like, it's one of those things where, yes, I know my dolls aren't talking, but I'll sit and have conversations with them, oh yeah, she's telling me today that she wants to wear this and that, that. It's just in my head. I know that she's not actually talking, so don't worry, I'm not crazy. Maybe I am, but not in that way. But it's one of those things where I'm like, have an imagination. Why do we as a society feel like once we become adults, we have to get rid of our imaginations? Like, we love books and movies that take us to different fantastical places. Like, fantasy is such a huge genre, but it's like, video games and these things, those are fine, right? It's fine for a person to go and play a fantasy video game, but why can't we imagine play in our heads with a toy? Why do toys have to be just for children? Like, why is it a big deal? Like, I go down the toy aisle pretty much every time I go to the store. I get just as excited about buying toys as my 4 and 5-year-olds do. And there's nothing wrong with it. That's what I've decided. I decided this a long time ago. There's nothing wrong with it. If it brings you joy and it's not, making you go broke, what's the big deal? What is the big deal? Why do people have to feel so like it's so wrong? And I don't know. I've never understood it. If somebody could explain to me what is so wrong about imaginative play, I don't believe it. I don't believe that there is a reason. I think it's just that people are insecure with themselves, and to be able to play with toys as an adult, you have to have some confidence. You have to have some kahunas. And I guess I do, whatever. In some ways and cases, I do still worry about what people think of me. I have friends that will take what they call a smart doll. Smart dolls are by Danny Chu. They are 2-foot tall dolls. I have 2 of them myself, and they are fully articulated. They're beautiful dolls, but they're, the size of a small child, and people will bring them with them to places. And I really have a hard time with that. Like, yes, I love my dolls. Yes, I play with them, but I don't run out in public, but maybe I should. It's kind of one of those things where maybe I should. Other people have confidence to do it. Why can't I? Part of it is that my smart dolls are very expensive. My most expensive dolls that I have in my collection, and I don't want them to get ruined. So they stay in my office where they're not going to get ruined, and I know that they're safe because they're dolls that I don't even let my kids play with. My Barbies, absolutely. My sons both have their own Barbies, although Barbie usually gets eaten by a T-Rex, which, I guess, Jurassic World. My son has always loved Jurassic World, and at a very young age, he was mad that the T-Rex wasn't actually getting to eat the people and that the humans won, because that is absolutely wrong, because humans aren't the winners. The winners are T-Rex. Just so you know, in case anyone was confused, T-Rex is the winner. Humans need to be eaten. That is the advice of my child. But anyway, I digress, because this is how my brain works. I squirreled from one topic to the next. But I swear it all matters because it's imagination play, right? Yeah. But it just comes back to, I don't know. I just have this love for my dolls, and it's kind of weird because I left my business in January of this year. I got a normal person job outside of the home because I was so burnt out. I couldn't get myself to sew. I was having a lot of issues with my body because I went through a lot of health problems in the last couple of years, and my hands cramp up too much when I spend too much time at my sewing machine, and I couldn't do the 8-hour days anymore. So I had to make some choices, and so I got a regular job. Not a regular, but I'm not running a business. I shut down my business, and I kind of went from there to figure out what I wanted to do with, the next move in my career. And so I left my dolls behind, and it was hard because I got so burnt out that this love of dolls and collecting them and playing with them, it was really hard because I couldn't even look at them. They sat in my office, and I'm near tearing up about this because I was really emotional about it. I was really worried that I would never want to love on my dolls again. Something that has been such a part of me for so long started just being too much, because sometimes when you run a business that is your hobby or your dream or your passion, the grind of the day and having to do it and just being on all the time and having to fill orders, and it's not about what you want to do, it's about what everybody else needs, and the maintaining of a business is a lot different than just being able to sit down and love on your stuff. It got to me, and when I would look at my sewing machine, when I would look at my dolls, they didn't bring me comfort and joy anymore, and that really hurt. That hurt so much because it's one of those things that, as long as I can remember, when I learned how to sew, and I learned how to sew at a very young age, I think 5 or 6, I learned how to hand sew. When I learned how to sew, the very first thing I started doing was making Barbie clothes. And so when I turned it around and made it into a business that was very viable, I was making a full-time income. I left my Etsy shop. It was still doing amazing. I mean, when I say this, I was making the same amount there as I am doing a full-time job. So it was a job, but it was so much that I needed to put it away, because my love disappeared. And it was really hard because I didn't know if I was ever going to love my dolls again. Something that brought me so much joy for so long just didn't. I mean, even in college, I still have this wonderful memory of, in college, we lived 45 minutes away from my hometown in college, and we drove down on a weekday, went to my house and a friend's house, and we got all of our Barbie dolls from childhood. We brought them back up to the dorms, and we legitimately sat in our dorm room playing Barbies as college kids. And so I am that person. When I say this, I'm like, this has been like a common theme through my whole life. And so I've made doll clothes. I've made these things since I was a kid. I still have some of the clothing that I made when I was a child. And obviously they're not good, but I was so proud of them at the time. And it's a great memory. Like when we talk about core memories, my core memories growing up was always creating, always doing some sort of creation. I mean, I even made my prom dress in high school, because I didn't go to prom in college, but high school. So sewing has always been a part of me. And so I was really, really struggling. And in the last week or so, since the Barbie movie excitement hit me, I've wanted to sew. I've wanted to pull out my dolls more. I want to play. I mean, I even pulled out my dolls and like dressed them myself rather than, doing it for a customer. I was able to take it back. And so I am just grateful for the Barbie movie in so many different ways. I am so grateful because look at how much it's inspired me. It's not just inspiring me. And I think that was the whole point of the movie, was that you can choose your life path. And that was one of the many themes. Oh my goodness. The movie is so layered that everybody needs to go see it. My sister found it boring. I don't know how you can find this movie boring, because there are so many layers and so many messages, just like these boom one-liners in the movie. And it just left me feeling so full of hope when I felt kind of hopeless that I would ever like my dolls again. And I do. And it's a great thing. And I'm really grateful for this movie. So yeah, that's kind of why I was drawing this. I draw in my own style. I don't know what my style is when it comes to people. I have had a lot of influences, a lot of different people who have influenced me and continue to influence me. And I don't know, I can't explain what my people look like. I love them. I love how my Barbie came out in my style, especially the standing one. I kind of feel like the one that's like waving, the Margot Robbie that's waving, doesn't look exactly right. That's okay. It's a sketchbook. And that's the wonderful thing too about sketchbooks is it's a sketchbook. It doesn't have to look great. Yeah. I also was really excited that I was able to pull out my neon pink colored pencil. I have kind of switched to mostly luminance colored pencils, but they only have like one bright pink, and that it's not very bright. It's the ultramarine pink. I think I'm using it right here. No, I'm using a warm earth one. But or is that French gray? I'm not sure. I can't tell you what I've used, but I've used quite a few colors of different things. And the luminance are just so, like, you can even see in the legs and where I use this, they're just so bold that I would love if they came out with like an opera rose or a neon pink. I don't think they will, because they are really about light fastness. And I know opera rose is a fugitive color, but a girl can dream, right? Luminance, if you can hear me in the universe, because I don't think you're ever going to watch this video, Luminance, come out with an opera rose, please. Thanks. That would be wonderful. But yes, I was excited to pull out my neon pink. I have the neon pink in both Prismacolor and Holbein. I think Holbein's is Opera. I'm pretty sure Holbein's is Opera. But for this one, I used the Prismacolor. Prismacolor's one is just a little bit darker. And so I wanted, where I was using it for lines, I definitely wanted that. But I used Luminance, I used Prismacolor, and I think that's the only colored pencils I used. But Luminance colored pencils, oh my goodness, I love them so much. I know I used like Payne's Gray 30%. That's what I'm using right here. I used Payne Gray 60%, where you can see like in the eyes. And I used Warm Earth and French Gray. I tried to keep the palette really small. I picked the colors before I started this. So I had them out and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to use. And I actually have made a limited palette because I want to, in the next week or so, do some Barbie Dreamhouse set studies, because the set was just, oh my gosh, the set was so awesome. And apparently they caused a pink paint shortage around the world during the movie. And the set was really awesome. So I would like to do some studies there too. Yeah, let me know down in the comments if you would like me to record my studies. I haven't decided if I'm going to yet, but if there are people who are interested in them, I would happily do so. So yeah, not have much more to input. I just wanted to talk about how much I loved the movie, how seen I felt, and how just happy. And I hope that this little piece that I did, this Barbie piece of artwork in my sketchbook, gives that kind of portrayal of how the movie made me feel, because I think it's bright and happy and it makes me happy, but I hope that the other people are getting that from that. Let me know if you've seen the movie. If you have, go ahead and drop me a pink heart emoji, because Barbie, pink heart. But also, just tell me what your favorite part was, or your takeaway, or do you have a weird hobby that you've had to justify to people and you're just like, I'm an adult now, I can do what I want, because that's where I'm at. I'm an adult, I'll do what I want, I'll love what I want, and there's nothing wrong with it. So I hope you have a fabulous day. Please like this video, comment, and subscribe if you want more of my content, but the liking and commenting really help my video grow and help me get to the people that need to see this. Have a wonderful day, and you will see me in my next one. Bye, everyone.